Hey guys, Creighton from the Republic Echelon on Harbinger, and today we're going to do a quick basic Commando healing guide. Right now the game is currently in 4.3, so if that's current, great. If it's old, that's a bummer. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the basics. Not going to go over things like stats. Um, plenty of guides out there. Um, so without further ado, here is my basic UI setup. I do use a Razer Naga and I use Razer Nazi keyboard, so they are set up for my liking in that way. But number one is what we're going to have here is going to be med shot or my basic filler. Filler, my definition of filler is going to be anything that I would use that I'll be healing with that does not take any of the energy cells or the resources. So we got med shot as my first primary heal. Depending on the op or what I'm going to be doing, I will probably open it up with a few different abilities, just depending. But what we're going to talk about right now is precast. Precast is going to be what you're doing, getting prepared for the encounter. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our supercharged stacks to 10. You can do that just by simply med-shotting yourself or med-shotting somebody else, like a tank. Alright, we're going to put our companion away, because why not? So now we have our supercharged cells here, lit up nice and pretty. What that does is, I like to consider it like the Commando Zen. It's going to boost my healing output a little bit here, and a little bit is a lot of bit. So, prime example, last night I was running Explosive Conflict in hard mode, so I would make sure I had my precast up. I also made sure that everyone was trauma probed. We'll just trauma probe myself right now. Notice that my timer's almost over, so I will go ahead and refresh it there. And then I would start off with hitting supercharged cells once the encounter started, and there's a lot of damage going out. I'd hit that, and I would open it up with successive treatment. Think of it as a chain heal. Chain heal is a good thing. It selects targets for you up to 4, which is always nice. Kind of heals people as needed. Does pretty good amount of healing for you. And when you stack that with trauma probe, trauma probe is going to just be ticking as it's going. So free heals is always a good thing. Then we also have Cultal Bomb. That's our nice little AoE that we're going to be, we want to use as much as possible, but remember that we want to be able to have a lot of energy cells available, so when you need to start raining in heals, we can. The next thing we're going to look at is Back to Infusion. It's a free ability, which is great. It also is going to help proc another ability here, as you will see. I'll go ahead and do it on myself. And now we have Advanced Medical Probe lit up. Go ahead and use it here. See a nice big heal. And then we'll go right over to Medical Probe. It's kind of our bread and butter when you're kind of needing heals, but things like right now are on cooldown. Go ahead and use that guy. As you can tell here, obviously I can't use Advanced Medical Probe on the go. Or regular Medical Probe. Just, have to keep my feet down, which is fine. We do have a couple abilities. The Successive Treatment. You can use our disciplines to spec into allowing us to move while healing, which is great. Most encounters will require you to have to move, so that's always a great thing to have. And then Trauma Probe, nice to have. We can also run and throw our little AoE out there. Also, if you have somebody targeted, which I don't have anybody to target, you can just simply double click the button. No, not working there, of course. Let's target yourself here. Double click it, boom. So the same thing can happen if you're, say you're targeting a melee or your tank or another healer, and It's not you're not gonna be the world's greatest AOE healer. So, but any AOE heal is better than no AOE heal. So a little something's better than a whole lot of nothing. What I would do is just my simple rotation is making sure Trauma Probe is always up. I use Successive Treatment every time it's off of cooldown because it's the best kind of AoE-ish ability that I'm going to have that will have a large area. The Coltal Bomb is a relatively pretty small area, and as you can tell here, it doesn't do the world's greatest in healing. So Successive Treatment, much more valuable to be using there. And then Back to the Infusion is great. I try to back that up always with Advanced Medical Probe, just because we get that one is free. This one here usually does a pretty decent heal. Had an unexpected guess, so we should have been talking about Back to Infusion. Nice part about Back to Infusion is it's free. You can target yourself or target anybody else. Hit Back to Infusion, counter it there with Advanced Medical Probe. That one didn't crit. Back to Infusion did crit, and both those combined, I did a 22k heal, which is great. Go ahead and use that one here, another 9k heal. So if I were to did that in real raid time, all back to back, which I normally would have, you're looking at a 30k heal on one target. Like I said, this is your bread and butter of your filler here, the medical shot. Bread and butter of your filler. It's not gonna save your tank from dying. It does help regenerate your resources because it's free. So anytime you're not using anything, you're able to use that, and keeping Back to Infusion up if you're ever in a tight window for healing that needs to be done. Kind of nice, especially if you have no resources. Also, to go along with our resource management, we do have reverse power cell and recharge cells. First power cell is really nice, especially if you drop below 50%. Pop that guy, your next ability is going to be granted for free. So pop that guy. Usually you'll want to use a big heal like medical probe, advanced medical probe if it's available. But free is always good. Recharge cells is always nice. We want to try to always keep as much resources we have available for our raid group or our flashpoint group or our PvP group, so we can be most effective. Another thing that we can do is Tech Override. Usually grants one ability instant casts, or you can discipline into it to 2. I currently have a hotkey, we won't worry about that. We'll go ahead and hit it. We see here, this has a nice little 2, so if I hit number 2, which has a channel ability, instacast, so that's 2 instacasts, then we'll do 4, then 3. So you can see there, big numbers, really quick. I could have, because we toggled it for an instacast, I could be moving, dropping those heals down, definitely making myself more of an effective healer. That's without adrenals, that's without having our supercharged cells available or even being used at all. That was just pure relics being auto turned on, and the burstiness of the Commando healing. Like I said, this is just a basic overview of Commando healing. Later in the week, I will be recording in-op Commando healing and showing a lot of this being worked. I realize I'm just in my lame guild chip here. But like I said, this Commando basic healing, and for myself, Commando healing's the most fun for myself to play. You also have Sage healing and Scoundrel healing, and a lot of people play both of those, so they're not that they're broken. We will also do a little bit of expect to see a Sage basic healing guide, expect to see a Scoundrel basic healing guide in the future, and also expect to see those put into operations, and then we'll move forward, and DPS will get their own and tanks will get their own, just like in the past, not the future, probably the future too. And once again, this Creighton Republic Echelon, I'm out.